Chuck E. Cheese.
Here comes Chuck E. Cheese.
Martial arts expert of reptile land.
I saw an incredibly stupid post on Facebook the other day, and I felt like it was my duty not only to debunk this post, but to sort of help people get better at debunking similar posts and statements themselves, because you see them, they're incredibly dumb, but to actually like thoroughly explain why they're dumb can take some time, and sometimes you just don't want to type out an entire several paragraph statement or have a lengthy conversation with somebody face to face about it. So, because not only are people incredibly ignorant, but it's really hard to go out of your way to explain it to people who are ignorant, and you have to do it very like tactically, or it's just going to get totally diverted into another topic. I'm going to break it down and explain how you can break it down faster and more effectively. So what this post was saying was that we don't live on stolen land here in Canada, because that was either conquered from the indigenous people or it was exchanged in treaties. That is crazy. That is just a crazy statement, because although this person rightfully almost explained what a treaty was, they completely somehow lack to understand that that's how the land was stolen, was through these treaties. Oh my god, like, look it up. It takes seconds to look it up. I can't believe someone is going out of their way to make a video about the topic and they just have no idea what the hell they're talking about. It's incredible that not only do they not know what they're talking about, but their brain couldn't put two and two together. So, history of Canada. The British come, and some other countries as well. They wipe out some indigenous people on the eastern coast of Canada, and then sort of, branch out from there. But most of the land was not conquered. So although this post that I saw was accurate, that, hey, there's a difference between conquered land and stolen land, what people are talking about is stolen land, not conquered land. Because most of Canada wasn't conquered. It was the British, let's just say the British, or what would eventually become the Canadian government, said, hey, indigenous community here, we would like to use this land temporarily, or like own this land temporarily through this treaty. We'll give you, it could have been furs, could have been guns, could have been food, money, primarily money. We'll use this land. If you allow us, in exchange, we'll give you money every so often, food every so often, whatever every so often. Whatever the agreed upon thing was, agreed upon time intervals. And then eventually, Canada just wouldn't keep up their end of the bargain. So, they don't keep up their end of the contract. That land should go back to the indigenous communities that signed the treaty. That's not what happened. The Canadian government didn't keep up their end, then didn't give the land back. Now, here, nearly in 2026, it would be unreasonable to say, hey, this land, that's now the Greater Toronto Area, we're just going to give that back to this native community. So everyone in the Greater Toronto Area, which is a huge portion of Canada's entire population, you just have to move. You're gone. Gonzo. You and your family pack up, hit bricks. That's not going to happen. That's not even an option. So, to this day, these treaties are figured out between the native communities and the Canadian government through court. This is a very lengthy process. These are still being figured out to this day. Some that are like well over 100 years old. How do people not know this, right? Like, I get that it's not taught in school. It should be taught in high school. It's kind of crazy. I knew what this stuff was when I was 8 years old, right? Because I am native. I know native people, right? They talk about this. And that's really the problem, is that people with this, oh, that land was conquered, it wasn't stolen. Well, you're dead wrong, right? Whether it's Canada or the United States, you're dead wrong. It was stolen through contracts that the government didn't keep their end up. you need to approach talking to these people by saying, what is a treaty? You can't start the conversation anywhere else with these people. You just need to say, what is a treaty? 99% of the time they're going to say, I don't know. So then you would just simply explain it to them. And that should change their mind, but some people are incredibly ignorant and stubborn and stuck in their ways. Maybe it won't. Whatever. Those people are just brain-broken buffoons that they just irrelevant, intellectually stunted people. Me, as an outsider, right, as somebody who already knew what this stuff meant, if I heard this, right, if I heard a term that I had never heard, like stolen land, I'd think, oh, well, what's that? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to do a quick Googly. And within minutes, I would find out exactly what it means. And I would say, hey, they're right. This stuff was clearly stolen. And if I didn't know what the term treaty meant, I'd look it up. So it just blows my mind that there's these posts out there that don't know what the hell any of this stuff means, but they just pretend that they do. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. The just raw ignorance of people. So yeah, if you didn't know this, you learned something today. I had wished, even though you learned something today, I wish you would have searched it out yourself. Either searched it out on, I don't know, the internet, a book, or simply talked to somebody. Like, you shouldn't be spewing your jackass opinion out there. Being like, oh, well, that land was conquered. I'm going to make social media posts. But you haven't searched it online, searched it in a book, or talked to somebody. Talk to an indigenous person. Because if you had, you would know what it means. Whoa, what a wonderful idea. It's almost like there's like resources all around you, information all around you that you can just learn and pick up at any moment. But you refuse to. So this, I wish I had a mirror right next to me because like I'll use my phone. What I want to do with this is shine a mirror on you to say like, hey, why didn't you ask? Why didn't you figure it out? You could have. What took minutes? And maybe there's other things going on with your worldview, your opinion on things, where maybe you should look into it.
You're gonna love my nuts.
Pocket sand.